right, hey guys, welcome here to, what is this? This is a Redneck Riviera down on Broadway in Nashville, right? Kind of awesome. You guys have seen us here before. We've been here a couple times. We've got a great show in mind for you tonight. We're going to do it with microphones, right? You see I've got a couple blasters up here, guests that we have, but you also see that right down here I've got my usual sponsor for tonight, Venture Surplus. Kind of cool, right? Appreciate them sponsoring us. Their motto is, we bring the Army Surplus store to your door. Right? Instead of having to drive to Fort Bragg and then go hit all the Army Surplus stores. You want some of that good Army gear, slightly used by some guy in the 80s stupid or something like that, you can go to Venture Surplus. Prior Marine gear, prior Army gear, it's cool. You can get the stuff. Again, free shipping, free returns, all that stuff. I appreciate them sponsoring us indeed. All right, so again, I've got Steve Holland here. You know the deal. Steve has got 50 people he's got to text to let them know that he's going to be on a live stream. It's like every morning when he wakes up, I have to get a text from Steve. You know exactly when Steve wakes up because I'll get a text, 10:43 in the morning. Steve is sitting on the shitter, just got a good story on Facebook. How you doing, Steve?
Doing good, Carl.
Doing good. I'm going to slide over for you a little bit.
I'm excited.
Why are you excited? Elaborate for me.
I am excited because we're here in the Redneck Riviera, Nashville, Tennessee on Broadway Street. Thank you and congratulations to our good friend John Rich for hosting us. He's a great American patriot. I can't say enough about him. Every time I get here, I want to talk about the Vietnam trip, the 8th of November song. Thank you, John, if you're out there listening to us. I think he's headed over here in a few minutes. He's a busy man. He's got his new podcast.
Yeah, you guys can hear the music playing downstairs. Maybe you can.
Crank it.
You can't. You guys saw I wore the same shirt as Steve today, so we match because you know we're fraternal twins, anyways. You know.
And I'm also excited because we found an opportunity.
Nobody can tell us apart other than I wear the hat, he wears the sunglasses, but other than that, we look identical. I know it.
Well, TR Nation, we've been waiting a year, and I promised you guys a year ago we were going to have Aries Defense Fight Light President, Mr. Jeff Panama Herring, on our show to show his new lever action rifle AR-15, and he's here. Right, it's here.
All right. You ready to bring him on, Steve?
No, go ahead and talk to your...
All right, so those of you that don't know, or since last Tuesday, man, my wife has been a blur. Went down and taught some classes down in Texas, wrapped that up. Good fat money, like pay the bills. My wife likes classes like that. And then on the way home, I hit the NRA convention. I know a lot of you guys bash the NRA. Here's the deal. I agree. You need to take a lot of the. Finally got rid of the president. They got to get rid of some more of his cronies. But if we can get the NRA back on track, I think everybody should support every organization that supports our gun rights. So if you're one of those haters of the NRA, I'm not turning my back on them. I'm not going to do it. Life member, proud of it. But again, I hope to see you guys at the Gun Owners of America convention. That's going to be later this year also. Another great organization. We have got a ton of stuff to get done. Emery is in town. He's going to be filming for about a week. He's got a bunch of videos he wants to knock out. And then we are Wheels Up. You guys will see on the screen over here, over here, I've got our PayPal logo up. And what that's for is if you guys want to make that small donation, me and Emery and the TR team, I've got 7 people going to Normandy, France. And we are going to jump into the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. And I did not realize how much this trip was going to cost. It is awesome. I'm using this one right here, Nick. My son is telling me that I need to put it like right in front of my face. I think I'll do this one instead. Is that better? Can you guys hear me in the back? Is that better? I'm sorry, guys. I'm not a mic guy. You're supposed to put a lapel mic on me, and it does better. I'm sure my wife is losing her mind right now watching this from home. And of course, Steve is still in his phone telling people that he's going to do a live stream tonight. So awesome. Anyways, guys, if you want to make a small donation and help us get the TR team over to Normandy, for example, the parachutes alone are almost $3,000 per person for parachutes, and then round trip tickets, and then hotel rooms, and the Airbnb, and rentals. You can't get 7 people into one rental. So multiple vehicles, 4 bedrooms. It's a good time, but we're gonna make it work. And honest, if you guys, if I don't raise enough money, my wife said it'll just cut into my kids' inheritance. No big deal, right? So either way, we're gonna make this work. Yeah, indeed, good stuff. Last couple administrative things I want to touch on is, again, we're leaving in 2 weeks, and then the summer is time for me to recuperate and wind down. We only have one high-risk travel. There's no slots for that left, but the class that I have slots still available for in July is our low-light, no-light shooting class. That's and we do a little bit with weapon-mounted lights, but 99% of the course is done with night vision. We provide brand new PVS 14 Gen 3 night vision. Actually, they're Gen 2 Plus, but they're ghost white phosphor, brand new, and don't cost you a dime other than tuition for the class. But the cool part is at the end of the class, I've worked out the agreement with AGM Global Vision that if you, the student, want to buy your set of night vision goggles, you're paying my cost, basically. It's not going to cost you. I'm not marking it up. I'm not doing anything like that. So anyways, you're going to get a great deal. And I understand buying night vision the first time, that's a big investment. A lot of people want to try it out. So anyways, that's a 2-day course we're doing it at the Louisville Armory. Why an indoor range? One, because they've got a shoot house and nice indoor ranges, but that we can actually maneuver on, barricades, doors, all that stuff, live fire. But one, it's too hot to shoot outside in July, but 2, I can kill the lights at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know, I've been to night shooting classes where it didn't get dark till 9 p.m. You shoot till midnight, you're tired, and you've only shot for 3 hours. Here, we start shooting at 8 in the morning, and you're done shooting at dinner time. You've got a lot in. So anyways, it's a good time. It's a great course. Right now, that class is only half full. So if you're interested, if you're on the fence, those slots are going to go fast. So again, you can sign up at tacticalrifleman.com. And that's it. Other than that, next open bunch of classes, September. Gunrunner pistol, gunrunner carbine, combat pistol 101, combat pistol carbine, carbine zero mastery, battle rifle 1, advanced pistol carbine. Bunch of back-to-back classes. You guys don't have to take them all. Take the ones you want to take. Anyways, it's going to be a good time. All right, so administrative done. You guys know the deal. The whole point of doing a live stream is for us to be able to interact with you guys. So if you have got a question, for any one of our guests, just put it in the chat room. My moderators, thank you to my moderators, all right, they will pull the questions and they will send them to me on my phone. And I'll either, like it says, closer to Mike, please. Okay, I'm trying.
You're doing good. In addition to our main special guest, Mr. Jeff, we called him Panama. Herring. I always thought he was from England. I've known Jeff for maybe 20 years. And with Geoff, Herring, for some reason his accent, I always thought he was from England. And I mentioned that one time. He said, no, I was born in Panama. So now I call him Panama.
He don't look Panamanian to me at all.
In addition to Jeff, we have a special treat for you guys tonight. We have the legendary, the one and only Coach Alton Murkerson with us tonight.
Remember last week, guys, we talked.
Coach has been sleeping on us, TR Nation. He's been sleeping on us. Coach is a 1988 Olympic boxing coach, the Olympics, people. That's the best in the world. I'm not going to go into the rest of his resume. I'm going to let him speak for himself when he gets up here. But Coach has been with us and shooting with us for years now. I had no idea of his boxing background. Boxing coach for champion Roy Jones Jr. Coach has been sleeping on us. So we got Coach in the house tonight. We're going to get him up here. And
before we bring up Coach, let's bring Jeff up.
Yeah. So right now we're going to bring up Panama, Jeff Herring.
Come on, Jeff. I'm going to get out of the way. You can stay with him, Steve. Okay. You want to take my chair, Jeff? Sure. All right. We're going to give this a try. All right. All right, this is the part we're going to have you just say a few words and let me know. Peter, let me know if you guys can hear him okay.
Can you hear me okay? Up a little bit closer.
Can you just check and see if they can hear him okay? He's not actually talking yet, so I'll slide it in.
All right, let's go ahead and try this.
Right in front of you.
Yep, perfect.
Or you want to the side.
That's fine.
What do you want?
Either way, yeah, that's good.
TR Nation, Mr. Jeff Panama Herring.
How you doing, Steve?
Good, Jeff. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, brother.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. What,
Yeah.
2014 SHOT Show, I think?
No, it's
Not SHOT Show, NRA Show, NRAM, about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Indianapolis.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. Yeah, we had a wonderful dinner that night. Jeff took me out to dinner with his wonderful wife, and we were in Indianapolis. What a great town. What a great show.
Yeah, it really was. It's a good show. In fact, we introduced the SCR rifle at that show. And this year we introduced the lever action. So 10 years apart, but thank you very much for Tactical Rifleman for having us on your show, and John Rich for sponsoring this event at the Redneck Riviera here in Nashville. We're really honored to be a part of this. So thank you very much. I know we talked about this about a year ago, Steve, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I was like super uber excited, and Jeff was just stringing me out. And he gave me a phone call about 3 weeks ago. He said, hey, give me your FFL shipping address. I didn't even want to say for what, because I don't want to get my hopes up.
Yeah.
He said, I'm sending it to you. So it got in. You guys saw it a little bit last week on the show. Here's the opportunity to talk to the man behind the machine. And we're also going to talk about...
Well, it's a team behind the machine, Steve. It's
behind
never a one-man show.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so what can I tell you?
But before we go and get heavy into the lever action, let's talk about the MCR for a bit.
Oh, the MCR. Okay, so the MCR was actually our first product. It's still our flagship. This is our 21st or 22nd year in production. Our MCR is this one right in front of me, and that is a dual feed upper receiver assembly that fits on any AR-15 or M16 lower going back to 1960. So the very first guns that shipped to Vietnam, we can put this upper onto any of those lowers, and all we change out is the buffer spring, and the bolt catch. So again, the very first guns that went to Project Agile in Vietnam, 1960-63, we can retrofit all the way up to today's current builds and all of the semi-automatic configurations of them out there. What you get in the MCR is you get an 8.5-pound weapon or firearm that is point and if you have a select fire lower on it, it gives you point and area target capability with select fire. It features a gas piston operation for heat or correction for the adverse conditions. It does have a quick change barrel system that's toolless. You push that button and you pull that barrel straight out the front. and you can go to a 12-inch barrel, a 16-inch barrel, or a 20-inch barrel in about 3 seconds as the barrel change with no tools whatsoever. It repeats zero pretty well. And the final thing is that it's actually a dual feed. So we patented this system. It's a dual feed, which means you can run belts or magazines at operator discretion without any reconfiguration of the weapon. So if you think about the Stoner 63, for example, Stoner 63A,
Right.
when you wanted to go from a rifleman to a machine gunner, you actually had to disassemble that whole system and take it apart, move pieces and parts around. We smooth that all out by just literally you push a button on the left side of the feed cover, it rotates up in standard configuration. You load it brass to the grass, so your M27 linked ammo, the links face up, the brass faces down, and you can run M27 linked M855 or M855A1 is what it's actually optimized for. If you want to switch to 30 round or 20 round magazines, dump the ammo out of the top feed tray assembly, plug in a magazine, and you're good to go. So that's the short version of what the MCR is all about. Again, it's our 21st year. We've shipped an awful lot of that product in those 2 decades, and it's still a very highly sought after system. We're really proud of it. It's been a good deal.
I mean, that's an awesome system. And think about it, nation. If you have, I guess, I don't know what you call it, a licensed AR-15
Yep.
lower that's full automatic, you now have a belt-fed capability. As you can see, he's running the belt through the upper. It's hard to see it right now because the ammo is coming down over it, but there's a nut sack underneath going up into the AR-15 mag well, which basically gives you the mag-fed, 30-round mag-fed capability. You got the Surefire has the high-capacity, 60, 100-round magazine.
Yeah, I think they make both 60 and 100.
And
Magpul has a 60.
Magpul has a 60-round magazine now.
That's right.
What about all the members out there that don't have a lower that's a licensed full auto? What about the guys that have semi-auto?
It fits every mil-spec pattern. In other words, the 6-inch and 3/8 of an inch hole pattern of any AR-15 or M16 lower receiver. Even the semi-auto variants, that upper plugs on to your lower with no gunsmithing required. There are no modifications to the lower receiver assembly. And again, you change out the buffer, the bolt catch, and the main action spring, and that's all it takes to put our upper, our MCR upper onto your lower. And we sell a lot of the uppers because people do just that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that the TR Nation knows that. I mean, just think about it for the guys in the military. Whenever you have a requirement for a new weapon system, it takes years. I was blessed when I did the Mark 12 SPR to have a team by my side working with me, Chris Murray, Gus Taylor,
I remember
Sean
Gus,
Waller. Yeah.
luscious Gus.
Gus, yeah, Gus. And we were
crane.
able to get the Mark 12 done kind of quick because we were going back to the old M16A1s. So if a military unit has an operational need for additional squad automatic capability, but they don't have the MTONE billet for a saw or additional saws in that system, in that unit, they can contract out for the Fight Light MCR.
Yep.
And just with an upper. You're not buying a new weapon system, which would take years in the military. You're just buying an accessory to the existing M4A1 or the M4 or the M16A2 weapon systems that the unit already has on hand. I think that's one of the greatest capabilities that any unit can have. I mean, if you're overseas and you say, hey, based on the situation we have, I need additional security.
That's right.
And instead of saying, hey, how can I get some more machine guns? The Army says machine guns are already given out to the units that authorize them. You can just have your contracting officer buy you MCR uppers, and for your defensive capability at your base camp or FOB, you just up your firepower tenfold.
That's absolutely correct, Steve. And the MCR actually stands for Mission Configurable Rifle. That's what the MCR stands for. And the idea is that as the mission changes, an individual can reconfigure their weapon to meet that change. So in other words, if they're rolling across open areas, they can go to a 20-inch barrel in 3 seconds. and they can have that longer range to the, velocity of a 20-inch barrel. But let's say they get to an area and they've got to go kind of more into a CQB roll. You plug a 12.5-inch barrel in there, and that's it. If the scenario calls for magazines, if that's a more effective way to enter an area, it's magazines. If you want to run point, you better load up a belt. So you have a 100-round option or a 200-round. Since the ammunition, the M855 and M856 tracers packaged in 200-round, what we call pork chops.
Right.
And then we break those belts in half, put them into the nut sacks, and if you want to get a little bit smaller profile. So that's what mission configurable rifle is all about. It's really about a mission flexible system that gives you point and area target capability.
Okay,
And, yeah.
Susan, I hear you. Susan Britcher, our moderator in Australia. Ozzy. Thank you, Susan, for the T-shirt. Love it. I absolutely love it. Susan, of course, it's always comes up, and they want to know the cost.
So our MCR upper receiver assemblies, not the complete rifle, but the upper receiver assemblies start at $6,300.99, $63.99 for the upper assembly. That's where they start at. They go up from there, depending on capability. What are some of the options, coatings, things like that. Complete rifle on the commercial side starts about, I think it's $83.99 for a complete complete rifle assembly.
All you guys out there with your deep pockets, I know you're just scribbling down and saying, okay, how do I contact, who do I get a hold of?
Yeah, go on our website.
Go on the website, Fightlight.
Fightlight.com, that's right. FIGHTLITE.com. One of our registered trademarks for the MCR is one weapon, any mission. And so, you can spend a lot of money on a lot of guns, or you can buy one gun that can answer a lot of roles. A lot of questions can get answered. So that's what the MCR is all about, Steve.
Okay, so to our moderators, Susan, I see you're on board. I don't know if JT's on board. Carl's over there fellowshipping with some of the TR Nation members. So you guys just send your questions to me, and I'll take it from there.
Yep.
In addition to the MCR, now you guys remember we featured Fightlight's SCR probably 7 or 8 months ago on the show. It was basically a rifle stock sporting style of AR-15 lower receiver, and we might get into that a little bit later, but we want to get into the latest and greatest.
Well, Steve, I think it's fair to just talk for a moment about the SCR, even if we don't jump in, only because that actually set the stage for the product we're really here to talk about tonight, which is our new Herring Model 2024 modern lever action rifle. The SCR is a gun that I started designing in around 2003, and the original idea for the SCR, which stands for Sport Configurable Rifle, was to have remember the Clinton assault weapon ban was in effect in 1994 to 2004.
Jeff, let me
Yes,
slow
sir.
you down here.
Yep,
Let's go back to the MCR.
you bet.
The question was, I don't know if everyone watching the show is paying attention to what Jeff's been saying. Pay attention, people. The question is, can the MCR go full auto?
If you have a full auto capable lower receiver assembly, or you have a registered drop-in auto sear, or you have a registered lightning link, the answer is yes, it can go full auto. Or select fire, and it depends on what your lower is. For example, M16s, M16A1s were true safe semi-automatic, full automatic capability, but an M16A2 rifle was safe semi and 3-round burst. So if you had an M16A2 with a burst kit in it, you're going to get that same mode of fire with the MCR system. So it's really dependent upon what the fire control components in your lower receiver really are, will determine the mode of fire that you can get out of the system.
Does that answer the question from the peanut gallery? That's
It's actually a good question. It's a great question.
That's our wonderful Miss Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
She supports us. She runs the Gun and Knife Country down in Oak Ridge, Kentucky, outside
yeah,
Fort
the
Camas
store we
Road gun
ship to.
store. She is
That's a really nice store. I've seen
phenomenal
pictures of the guns on the wall. It's
firearms,
great.
knowledgeable enthusiast, and she supports the show. I mean, nonstop. Her and her daughter Lauren.
Well, it's a
I mean,
pleasure
just
to meet you
absolutely
very
incredible.
much.
So we're going to jump right back over to the SCR.
Okay. So our SCR, again, I was talking about that, was our sport configurable rifle. We actually launched it in 2014, and that's at that NRA show where we lost. But the design of it actually started in 2003. The 1994 Clinton assault weapon ban was due to sunset, and we didn't think it would actually sunset. And I was sitting in my office one Saturday, and I had an 870 shotgun laying on my floor, and something clicked in my mind. I said, you know, I wonder if we can put an AR upper somehow on a stock that looks like this. You know, because the things that people were coming up with were kind of outlandish. They had weird, you know,
especially the California version.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's sick.
And I, you know, I'm a gun guy. I appreciate how guns look. I appreciate how they function. The aesthetics mean a lot to me personally. And I just could not get my brain around some of the things that folks were coming up with, monster grips, you know. And I'm not picking any product in particular. It's just that for my own purposes, if that law did not sunset, you know, I wanted something different for a semi-automatic. And so that's kind of where the SCR came from. And it's a 50-state legal rifle. We ship it everywhere. New York City, Chicago, they're allowed in those. Washington, D.C., we actually shipped that rifle to D.C., to FFLs in D.C. So that's been a really good product for 10 years, still going very, very strong. And we've spun off other things such as our Bandito and Raider pistols on the SCR receiver set. So it's given us a lot of options to bring to the market. And you know, what our customers appreciate, you know, we try and build.
Okay. Got a couple more questions here. See if I can get them going.
Excuse my cough. I just got back from NRAM 2024 in Dallas.
Crafty Sasquatch. What a name. Crafty Sasquatch. Crafty Sasquatch wants to know.
What is a Sasquatch?
So I missed. It's a hairy thing with big feet.
Oh, that's
My
me.
wife thinks it lives in our backyard. It's like 10 feet tall, 600 pounds, size 36 shoe, but it only leaves one footprint every time somebody sees it.
It's kind of like a UFO, isn't it?
Yeah. Nothing that heavy and that tall moves through the brush without breaking tree limbs and leaving tracks.
I think you're probably right about
Yeah, absolutely. Crafty Sasquatch wants to know, says, sorry I missed it, will it go on a AR-10 lower?
Will which go on the AR-10, the MCR?
MCR.
Not at this time. The thing about that, you know, you have to, when you're looking at research and development costs of a product, you have to entertain who is the market, what is the market. The market on the MCR and its predecessors is based on AR-15, which everybody has that pattern. When you get into that 308, 762 size lowers, there are several different patterns from various companies. And the other thing is that on the MCR, there was actually part of the squad automatic weapon, which is what it was designed to bring in. And we're actually half the weight, by the way, of an M249. We're half the weight of an M249, and we bring in the select fire capability. But the stage was already set in that the SAW was mandated to be with both belts and magazines.
Exactly.
Because squad members carry magazines, machine gunners, light machine gunners, squad automatic riflemen. You know, they should be able to use squad magazines. Well, that's not the case in a 7.62 scenario. And so when you get into that, you say, well, who's the customer, and do they need magazines? So those things kind of go into the equation about, is it really viable? And I'm not saying that we don't have something in 7.62 in the works, because we're always working on stuff. But I will say that it probably won't. You know, you have to pick one horse to ride, because there are various patterns of lowers. So making that a viable thing where you can buy an upper, put it on anybody's lower, just is not a reality, I don't believe, in the AR-10 type of world.
Crafty Sasquatch, I hope that answers your question. Our next question is directed to me from Sydney Shaw. Steve, hi. Hi, Sydney. I'm looking for a 20-inch 6.8 barrel. Your thoughts? Cindy, I believe most of your barrel makers out there who make quality barrels, I'm not going to just start, throwing names out there. There's so many barrel companies out there that make quality barrels. Keep in mind the 6.8 is the same as the 270 bore. So any company that's making barrels for 270 Winchester make barrels for the 6.8 SPC and the 6.8 by 51. In regards to an AR-15 type platform, I don't like to use names for particular companies, but sometimes I do want to recognize a company and I'm gonna give them their flowers. When we did the, Chris Murray and I, down at AMU, we did the 6.8 to 20-inch barrel, and then we did the Mark 12 16.5-inch, more commonly known as the Mod H. We use Noveske barrels. So I will, speak of Noveske here, because they did make the barrels for those systems that were used by Special Forces and the SEALs and the Rangers during that time period of war. And it's interesting that I was speaking with some guys from 5th Group just recently, a couple of months ago, and they are still running their Mark 12 Mod H and 5.56 because the military hasn't really given them anything better. Even though they are leaning forward in the saddle on the 6.8 by 51, similar to what you were asking Jeff about the MCR being available in an AR-10 type platform, Mark 11, etc. I did the 6.8 by 51 after I did the 6.8 SPC, but I didn't really give it a priority because my focus was, as Jeff's and his team's focus was, I wanted to mate onto the existing receivers we have for the M4A1 and all the old Vietnam surplus rifles we found in M16A1. And Gus Taylor at Crane really helped me out with that because Colt was fighting us because Colt owned the tech data package for the M4A1, which was issued to SOCOM. And they wouldn't allow us to put the Mark 12 upper receivers onto that lower. And Gus brought it up in a meeting one day at Crane. He said, hey, why don't we just use M16A1s? Colt doesn't own those, the Army does. And thus, the Mark 12 SPR, Mod 0, and Mod H was born. Back to you, Jeff.
All right. And I can second what Steve's saying. Noveske makes a great barrel, so for what that's worth. So where were we on SCR, or you had another
question.
Viewer's question?
Without further ado, Tactical Rifleman, Steve or Carl, or the guest, since you shoot guns a lot, do you ever get yourself tested for lead? Well, when I shoot guns, I try to stand on the back side of the rifle, not in front of it, so I don't have any lead, okay? No, well, it's called a two-way range when you're in combat, but I try to avoid the lead that's going out and the lead that's coming back in. But I got you without further ado. Basically, you're saying that because there's lead particles and lead vapor in the air, and most, of course, your indoor ranges have a EPA requirement to have certain kind of air filters to filter all of that out of the air. But for guys that have been shooting for a long time, have we had ourselves tested for lead? I mean, other than, my crooked back and my crooked arm and my eyes that point up and left and right and my extraterrestrial genetic implant that I have here, no, I haven't been tested for lead. Carl, without further ado, wants to know, since you shoot a lot, have you ever been tested for lead? Without further ado, wants to know, since you shoot a lot, have you been tested for lead exposure? Lead contaminants?
All the lead in my bloodstream is from me chewing on window sills when I was a kid. So I really don't worry about it. You understand, I was taught in the Army to clean guns with break-free, with no gloves on. I've got so much shit soaked into my body from depleted uranium dust and flashbang grenades No, honestly, a lot of our Sephardic instructors, our hostage rescue school instructors, they pop hot for high levels of heavy metals simply because every time you throw a flashbang inside of a shoot house, it stirs all the dust off the ground.
Yep.
So they would have to actually rotate the instructors out to different parts of the school. I never really worried about it because it's not like I could say, hey, I can't do it anymore. I'm not going to work tomorrow. I'm going to do it because the job needed to be done. When the towers fell, somebody had to go overseas. Who shall I send? Send me. And I don't worry about little things like, I don't know, heavy metals, poisons, carcinogens, Democrats. I don't worry about none of that stuff at all. You good with that?
Thank you.
You are welcome.
So back to the LAR AR 2024.
There you go. So you want to jump into that?
Yeah, let's jump into that.
All right. So what we brought today is, well, Steve, why don't you lead because
Well,
you brought this rifle. I only brought that pistol. So
yeah. Well, we're going to get into the pistol, but we want to get into, like you said about the SCR.
Yep.
When the Clinton ban came in and you couldn't have a rifle that had a pistol grip and all these other little nuances that they wrote into that, you started the SCR.
That's right.
And now you've done, basically, it's an SCR non-semi-automatic, but a lever action rifle. And he has the rifle you see here in the background is the one we had on the show last week. And it is the, Jeff, tell us about it.
Yep, that is the Herring Model 2024 modern lever action rifle. And in front of us is our what we call our Bandito pistol. It is actually a pistol. It's a mare's leg style of pattern grip. And so these are both out of the Herring Model 2024 lever action program. Going back to the SCR for a moment, because that does set the stage for this. The SCR, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, really was an opportunity for us to design a semi-automatic rifle that we could have anywhere in all 50 states. And we accomplished that very well. It took about 4 complete redesigns for us to get the ergonomics to actually work out well. You know, it's one thing to envision something, it's another thing to, you know, you go through the iterations of prototyping, testing, and whatnot. And, you know, it was about 4 times to do complete redesigns to get the ergonomics of the SCR where they flowed well. But one of the things that we noticed in shooting that gun, while the original idea came out of the Clinton, I guess I should thank them for having that ban in the first place, because it gave us the motivation and the impetus to design a really nice rifle. And one of the things that was very apparent as soon as I started shooting it, you know, I didn't grow up shooting an AR-15 or anything with a pistol grip. Those were never my first guns.
Exactly.
They were 22 plinkers. I mean, I shot a hell of a lot of rimfire ammunition out of standard configurations. And when we think about a pistol grip, they certainly have their place. I have a lot of pistol grip firearms, but I will say that they're only about 70 or 80 years old in all, whereas a more traditional rifle stock goes back 500, 550 years that we know of on rifle designs, so you can get very prone with it. And it actually has a lot of natural pointability. So as we were shooting the SCR program, we realized that it was a hell of a lot of fun. You know, we had a lot of fun shooting the gun because we were more in tune. You know, it's just when you develop something like this, we're dumping belts of, you know, full auto fire daily, just day after day after day. We're shooting hundreds of thousands of rounds, if not millions of rounds of ammunition in the full, you know, testing and development of that program. The SCR, we were shooting a lot of ammo, but we realized that it was actually, we were having a lot of fun with the gun. That was the cool thing, is we were having a lot of fun. And so fast forward several years later, the idea for a modern lever action came about, and nothing in our place happens in a vacuum. We have a really nice R&D team where we love working together. We do a lot of things, so we have a lot of stuff in the works, and it's not a one-man show by any stretch. Everybody has who's on what I call the Fight Light Wrecking Crew, plays a very important role in our organization and what we bring to the market. So the Herring Model 2024 lever action, we kind of started with an SCR rifle to build the prototype. And what we wanted to do was actually, you know, the lever action rifle is actually the only fully American gun design or gun pattern is a lever action. Everything else goes to Europe or some other place in the world. But the lever action, going back to the Henrys and Sharps in the 1860s, those are your first American lever guns. So we wanted to truly modernize that and bring in lightweight, bring in corrosion resistance, bring in a magazine feed where we could run high velocity, high pressured ammo and not be hostage to ammo that tapped out in 1920s, such as the 30-30 and some of these other cartridges. So that's kind of where the background for the Herring Model 2024 comes in. What sets it really apart, and in fact, is that it is manually operated, and it takes any AR-15 upper receiver assembly and caliber. So we have already built them in 300 blackout, 5.56. We ship them with a 223 wild chamber because it gives you good performance in both 223 Ram and M8 5.56 ammunition. We've built them with 6 ARC, 6.5 Grendel. This pistol is a 450 Bushmaster. It's a handful.
Oh.
You look at the muzzle.
Oh. Did you guys hear that?
450
Bushmaster.
In a pistol.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, all you hog hunters.
So we're having fun with it.
All you pig hunters out there.
Yeah.
Get your bowie knife ready.
That's our Kodiak
Get
gun.
your 450 Bushmaster ready and jump into the palmettos.
Yep.
You know, the thing I like, and the TR Nation knows, I like myself some lever actions. I do love my traditional lever actions. The thing I was looking forward to with your system is having a lever action. I like manual actions. As you guys know, I created the sniper school for 5th Group and 101st on Fort Campbell back in the 90s doing Somalia. And so I've run bolt guns for a very long time, traditional bolt guns. The manual movement on a bolt gun is basically 4 actions, 4 strokes.
That's right.
Okay? The manual movement on the lever action is only 2. So you just cut that in half.
Open and closed.
Open and close. Open, extract, eject, close, feed, chamber, and lock. And the thing that really held me back was, as Jeff said, you couldn't use high pressure, high velocity rifle ammo, except for some of the other lever action builds like Winchester and Browning had lever actions in 308, 30-06, but they still it was the feeding mechanism that I wanted to have the ability to change quickly. It's like there's tactical reloads and then there's reload. So on my lever guns, I've got the tube of the magazine. I'm going through the loading gate, or I'm pulling the feed tube out of the feeding magazine tube, and then I'm loading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With the Fight Light lever action, it's just like an AR-15. The manual of arms, the drill is the same. Eject the magazine, slap in another magazine, you're ready to go. And if you love lever action, but you love AR-15 pattern and manual of arms, this is the perfect system for you.
Yeah, and Steve, you're absolutely correct. And that's kind of how we approached this is we said, okay, the lever action hasn't really been seriously updated in almost 100 years. I mean, there are a couple of exceptions, right? So Browning BLR, they run a rack and pinion system to leverage it. But if you go back to the very first high velocity cartridges out there were Charles Newton. Charles Newton's, I think, fairly regarded as the father of high velocity. And if you look at the old Savage 250 3000, for example, it meant 3,000 feet per second bullet velocity. So it was a Spitzer pointed bullet, but they realized that they could not feed that in a tube because of the centerfire primers. So Arthur Savage built the Savage in 1899.
Right, Savage 99.
Browning did the Winchester 1895. Those are both higher velocity cartridges. But most levers, like the 94 is been around forever. And everybody shot deer with the Winchester 94. It's a great gun. It absolutely is. But you are limited to a slower velocity round and in capacity. So we took what we love lever actions. That's where we started. We said, well, how can we actually make this? How do we get rid of things we don't like? And the things we don't like are things like, okay, you load your rounds one at a time. Well, if you want to unload, you also unload them one at a time, and frequently it is done by literally chambering each round to extract it, which puts a lot of wear and tear on the ammunition. It also sets you up for an accidental discharge every time you chamber that round. So that's one thing we didn't like about legacy lever actions. The other thing is center of gravity shift. As you shoot a lever action, your center of gravity shifts as the ammunition depletes, and that tube starts feeding from the front of the muzzle toward the receiver. So wear and tear on the ammo, slow to reload, slow and in some scenarios potentially dangerous to unload. In our case, we could load a magazine, we could run high velocity ammunition, we can hit one button just like you do on an AR-15, and in fact it uses AR-15 4179 Stanag magazines. We hit one button and rack the lever action open one time, and you totally clear the weapon, or clear the firearm, I should say. So, Herring Model 2024, again, you can run pretty much any AR-15 caliber that is centerfire lock breech. It is a rotating bolt. Excuse me one second. For any of you that haven't stood in a trade show for a few days and yapped a lot, you wear your voice out.
Oh, I know what it's like going to the SHOT Show or NRA show and all these other trade shows, and everybody's got their questions.
That's right.
But there's hundreds of everybody's all day,
Yep.
nonstop. So I definitely know that.
I do want to bring up an important point, though, about, because this goes back to when, Steve, when you first, you and I were talking about this Herring Model 2024, that was about a year ago.
Right.
And there was about a year lag on delivering one to you. And there's a really good reason for that. We approach all of our projects, if you think about the design team that designed this lever action, it's also the design team that was involved in the MCR, the SCR, and some of the other things that we've done, and some things that we've licensed to other companies, stuff like that. We approach it all the same way. It is, we design this for military kind of environment. So in other words, when you think about dirt, sand, mud, snow, ice, that's the mindset that goes into designing even a lever action for a civilian population. Things like how strong is the breech? How well does it feed? How well does it resist? So we're not allowed to touch this firearm on YouTube, but I can tell you that there's a single strut that pulls down out of the receiver. Other than that is a completely enclosed system, and that is to prevent debris and intrusion from getting into the action. The other thing that we designed, and this is one of the things that took a little bit longer, Steve, is we designed a 6-to-1 mechanical advantage. We patented, in fact, the patent just came out on it, that delivers primary extraction in a rotating bolt. That is very, very important, because when you obturate brass at 55 to 70,000 pounds per square inch in the chamber and breech system, and you get a dirty chamber or kind of a crappy chamber, it can be really tough to get that to unload or to get it to extract. With our PE, or what we call our primary extraction mechanism, it's a breeze. There's also grip safety so that we ensure that the bolt is actually locked into battery before you can physically pull the trigger. So those are the devil's in the details, and we have a really experienced design team that took this one on. We've had a lot of fun. Now, what we have noticed in testing it over the last year and a half is we're actually way more connected with the rifle, because every shot is a very deliberate, open a breech, chamber around, fire the shot, deliberately open. That's very different than pulling a trigger.
Yeah,
and
on the semi-automatics.
Yeah, and I had a tremendous amount of fun developing it, working with the guys. They're a great bunch of guys that are on that team, and we just had a really good time developing. I think we've done a really good job on it. It's a great product.
Yeah, I on the LR 2024 that you see behind you, that's a 300 blackout. And I got around to shooting it this past Sunday. I wanted to get it zeroed. And one of the things I want to point out with this system and with the Fight Light SCR that's different from a standard AR-15 pistol grip is the AR-15 was designed with that carrying handle. If you remember in Vietnam, they would mount scopes into the groove on top of the carrying handle that was in front of the rear sight. And all you guys that are running red dot sights on your AR-15s know your sight has to be up, the sight mount, the scope mount or the RDS mount has to be up at 1.5 inches higher than the top rail, the Picatinny rail. And I've always believed in the closer your sights are to the center of the bore of the firearm, the more accuracy and the more the capability is for the shooter to get in behind the sight instead of popping your head up. It's like you have, like let's say you have an RDS up on a day optic on your AR-15. I'm waving at my wonderful daughter Candace, who just came in. Woo! Candace in the house. And Candace, go over there and say hello to Coach. It's Coach Murkison. And
I think what
SCR,
Steve, I think what you're trying to say is that your lead exposure goes up the higher your head comes up.
Yeah, oh yeah, that too. Don't be one of these.
Yeah.
Moving target. But if you look at the trajectory path of your projectile versus your line of sight and your scope, where at what point they cross and meet at a given range, and as you have to make those adjustments, it's less critical the closer your optic or your iron sights are to the upper receiver of the bore of the weapon system. So basically, with the SCR, and I don't know if you can see it here, and we could probably get a chance to switch out the one back here and put it up here later on. But that day optic, I'm running a Seymour 1-6 day optic on that, and as compared to an AR-15, that scope, when you turn the magnification, the rear knob on that scope, it's maybe 3/8 of an inch off the top of that receiver. That's how flush that scope is on top of the receiver and closer to the bore of the firearm. So the old accuracy shooters have always said the closer your sights are to the bore, the more accurate the system is going to be. And that's something that I think really stands out on the lever action rifle and the SCR.
Yep. No, you're really right about that. The lower you can get that optic, the more accurate it'll be for sure.
Yeah, and I first shot the lever action 2024 Sunday, and of course, once I mounted the scope, Seymour scope, I love Seymour scopes because the reticle that they use is different. It doesn't have all the stuff you see in all these newfangled scopes and new reticles, all these Christmas trees and all this other stuff going on. It's like the mind and the eye, even in competition, much less in combat, you don't have time for that. You don't have time for, okay, I'm looking at this line or that glass etched on the left side for the height of a man. No, you just want to see the point of aim to the point of impact and shoot. So when I was shooting, and I bore sighted it, the first time I made the first shot, I want to say I was lowered to the right about 4 inches of the bullseye on the first shot from bore sighted. And I was really surprised. Of course, like I said, this is 300 blackout. I'm shooting subsonic ammo. So it drove the rifle, the recoil from the rifle drove straight back. So you didn't have the climb, high right climb, or low left climb, or anything else you normally get with systems like that. like an AR-15. And that really amazed me. Even though it's a 300 blackout, the system, the interface with the shooter is much comfortable than an AR-15 because of the straight stock design.
Yep. You're correct. I think it's worth pointing out that we do also offer that just as a lower receiver assembly, so that folks can build their own system, so they don't have to buy a complete rifle, and it is very friendly to lowering the optics. One other thing about the lever gun itself is that there is no charging handle in the back. That is what you're seeing right about there. It's kind of an enclosure that replaces the charging handle, just because we can use a standard AR-15 upper receiver, and so that is a way for us to close out the dirt and debris. But we do offer this, both rifles and pistols, as a lower receiver kit, so the customer can build it. So let's say you want to build a 6.5 Grendel or a 6.8 SPC for deer hunting. It'd be a great one for deer hunting.
6.8 in the house.
You can, you will have the carrier that's got the built-in primary extraction for reliability, and you literally put the 6.8 bolt into our carrier that we provide, put that upper onto our lower, and you'll have a 6.8 SPC lever action AR-15, for lack of a better term, manually operated. It capitalizes on all the handguards and calibers and magazines and the wonderful accessories that make the AR-15 so popular for all the shooters that are out there.
Okay, I'm assuming this is from the Donut Eater. I'm assuming that the question is, does it fire from an open bolt? And I'm assuming that he's asking that, or she's asking that, of the MCR versus the LR.
No, the MCR, actually they're both closed bolt. The MCR is a closed bolt system. We did that mainly for compatibility with existing lower receiver and fire control components, but also it gave us great accuracy, and it gives us both point and area target capability. There is a little bit of a false sense of security, in my opinion, about open bolt machine guns. Open bolts, everything gets into a cook-off range once you get about 250 projectiles down the bore in a short period of time. Everybody, whether you're open bolt or closed bolt, you're in a cook-off temperature range barrel at that stage. The only difference between a rifle and a hand grenade is a good breech system that's locked and that can contain that fired cartridge. The problem with relying on an open bolt system, anybody that's ever run one and gone to clear and load a new belt and they've had maybe a link fell in through the feed tray on top of the op rod, I'm talking about on an open bolt current system. If you load an ammunition belt, you pull the trigger, it drops the bolt, it will strip around, it will chamber it around, but that link sitting on top of an op rod can prevent the breech bolt from actually locking and doing its job to contain the pressure. So if you are in cook-off temperature range at that point, you have a lot of risk. So to us, it was worth sticking with the closed bolt system. We do have a 3-second barrel change if heat mitigation is a concern. Steve, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that answers the question. And coming up, we have a question from Kraken Tactical Edge. Great to see you out of Australia. Hey, sweetie. My wonderful daughter, Candace, is in the house, hanging out with her dad.
Hi, Candace.
And her boyfriend, Cameron. I'm assuming that's Cameron, right? I can't see. Okay. How you doing, Cameron? Good, good. Kraken Tactical. Again, Kraken, thank you for that awesome pig sticker. I don't know what we call the push dagger, which I carry all the time, but the pig sticker, that knife. Kraken Tactical makes tactical knives out of Australia.
What's their name?
Kraken.
Okay.
Like release the Kraken.
Release the Kraken.
Release the Kraken.
It's a great name.
Kraken Tactical threw down 20 Australian, whatever they have, dollars. Steve, can you ask if they will make the lever actions for the Australian market? if they can make them compliant, will be a big seller here. Crack it.
Yep, so to answer that question, yes, the answer is yes. We are working with Rob Nioa. Nioa is a big defense contractor and importer, and they will be handling exclusively at this stage lever action fight light products for both Australia and New Zealand markets. That'll be Nioa. And they're the folks
Yay,
that bought,
Aussie. You're
yeah.
gonna have an AR-15 lever action rifle. And
they're the same folks that just bought Barrett. Ronnie,
Okay,
yep,
okay.
Nioa. Great people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll, Carl and I have been talking about doing a tactical training course, lever action training course in Australia sometime soon. I don't know when that's going to happen. I know it's a lot of administrative stuff involved. Hopefully, get the weapon systems over there first, so we don't have to take systems from here, take them into Australia. Because I know that's going to be a nutbag to get
I'm
done.
pretty sure that they will be there by that point.
Okay.
They're very excited to be working with us, and we're excited to work with them as well and get this into New Zealand and Australia. I'd say that's one interesting point that we didn't really anticipate so much when we developed the system, is that the markets in both Europe, the UK, Australia, South Africa, there's been a lot of people that have been deprived from having semi-automatic firearms. Canada, they're on a chair, aren't they? And so lever actions still are favorable in those areas, and that just happens to work out. They're going to get a great system out of it.
I'm curious, Kraken, and I know you don't speak for everyone in Australia, but of course, everyone else watching, but I'm going to direct a question to you. Lever action, fight light lever actions coming into Australia, what do you believe will be the predominant caliber that the Australians will want to see for the lever action? Of course, I'm not holding him to say 6.8, but however, for all you Australians who have never ever
But we can do that too.
experienced a 6.8, you never go back. You never go back. You never go back to anything else. I'm here to tell you, people. It was built based on mission requirements and ammunition shortfalls since Vietnam. So get you a 6.8 and get some.
The predominant calibers that we are starting shipping with, I should say one thing about the barrel on the Herring Model 2024 lever action is there is no gas system. Of course, it's a full tapered barrel, so there's a lot of rigidity in the barrel. The initial offerings from Fight Light are 5.56 chamber. There's a 223 wild chamber because there are some areas, such as in Europe, where you can't have a 5.56 barrel. There's also some benefit to, for those who don't understand a 223 wild chamber, it is kind of a hybrid between 5.56 and 223 Remington. So they have modified the lead and free bore and things like that it's really for match barrels is really the thing. So that's where the 223 Wild came from. So 223 Wild, 5.56 and 300 Blackout are the initial factory offerings, 450 Bushmaster and 350 Legend. So those are kind of what we're coming out of the gate with. The 350 Legend in states like Indiana, Iowa, wonderful straight wall cartridge. 450 Bushmasters for great pig gun, pig hunting cartridge as well.
My son has a 350 Legend, a Ruger bolt action. I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
when it first came out, you guys know I'm a ballistics guy. I'm an ammunition guy. When it first came out, I was like, here we go again, another something on a 5.56, 223 Remington case. And I really got it for him because, he deer hunts in the backyard, and we've only, backside is like 4 acres, which is backed up by a farm that's not farmed, like 300-something acres, but I still didn't want him shooting high-powered rifles. And so I got him a 357 Remington Magnum. 357, here I go. the 350. And once we started shooting it, I kind of really started to like the cartridge. I mean, I
It's
really
a nice round.
do. I like the cartridge coming out of a bolt action in an urban environment. I don't really know if I would care for it in an AR-15 semi-automatic. And thinking about it for the Fight Light lever action rifle, it's a perfect combination. It would be a perfect combination for that type rifle.
Well, it is a really fun, not everybody has got that round to feed properly, quite frankly, in semi-autos, but they work very well in lever action rifles. There's another really unique advantage that we found working with designing this gun, and that is silencers. When you put a can on the end of one of these rifles or pistols, you have absolutely no action sound. You don't have any of those,
Telltale audio signatures that say somebody's shooting something.
It's going one way.
No, well, I'm getting ready to rotate over to Coach soon. Well, actually, you can start, Coach, and I'll take a little break. Okay. Yeah, and that's one of the things I noticed when I was shooting it, the 300 blackout. I'm running a Noveske Flaming Pig on the one behind us, and of course that's not a full-up suppressor. It's only a flash hider, but I love it when I don't want to get into the whole suppressor paperwork and everything else. The subsonic ammo, I think I was shooting 220 grain, and the way the rifle feels is, you guys hear me say it often. When I bought my Smith & Wesson M&P 5.7, when first time I picked it up at Sarah's gun store, I said, Sarah, I gotta have this because it fits my hand. When I picked up the Kraken knife, I picked it up, I said, Carl, I gotta have one of these. Thank you, Kraken. When I picked up the LR from the gun store, Coach and Coach was the first one to ever touch the gun. I want to be the first one to touch the historic Fight Light lever action rifle. And Coach sent me a text saying, I'm already at the gun store, I'm playing with your rifle. And I told his son, Coach is the only one that could do that, and it wouldn't bother me. Anybody else I would have come into the gun store, guns blazing. Started a two-way range. And the thing I noticed about the lever action rifle is the lightweight. And I picked it up. I was really, when you pick up ARs, even the SCR and a couple other systems, you expect a certain feel, a certain weight feel. I picked up the lever action. I said, wow, this thing is light. And then once I got home and I started studying it, I said, I know why it's light. It doesn't have a gas piston block on it, or front sight and the height of the front sight and everything else. That weight is gone. It doesn't have a gas tube, even though a gas tube doesn't weigh that much, but still, that weight is gone. It doesn't have the selector lever system, so that's gone. The bolt release system, where the bolt locks to the rear on the AR, that's gone because it doesn't have it. Now, it does lock to the rear on an empty magazine, but then I thought, wait a minute, the buffer tube, which is a lot of weight on an AR, and the buffer is gone. The buffer tube is gone. The buffer spring is gone. I mean, you're just reducing so many parts, taking away so many parts on here, it cuts the weight down. I would say, what is it running, 6.5 pounds?
No, about 5.7 pounds.
5.7 pounds.
Yeah.
That really amazed me. Even when I put the scope on, and the Noveske Flaming Pig, I can still feel the difference when I pick up my SCR, and I put it down and I pick up the lever action. I said, man, wow. And the thing that really surprised me about the lever action is the recoil was driving straight back, which, if you've never shot a rifle that does that, because you mostly having to jump high right, then you have a muzzle brake compensator that does the opposite, so it drives the rifle the opposite direction. But this one, I mean, you can just feel it, because I'm watching the dot in the scope, and Seymour has just a dot in the center. You don't have the reticles coming in, and I'm going to get into scope reticles one of these days with you guys and explain to you guys, after all my years of running sniper school and sniper weapon system and optics development and going through all these different reticles, why I don't like crosshair reticles. especially crosshair mill dot reticles. But I mean, we're here today to talk about the lever action rifle. But I can see that dot on the target during the recoil break, and it was right there. And I could tell the rifle was driving straight back into my shoulder instead of trying to climb on me. And that's something that really surprised me, the way the whole design works. Like you said, when you lock up, especially if you're running subsonic with a suppressor,
Yep.
I mean, it's almost no movement whatsoever.
No, that's a great observation, Steve, and you're correct. It is a pretty straight push back. It's more of a push.
And Jeff and I'm going to give Jeff a chance to take a break, but he's still going to be here in the house to take some questions. If we get a chance to kind of switch things around without making physical contact with the systems, we're going to get the 300 blackout lever action rifle up here next to the pistol. But we're going to get Carl back up here, and we're going to get the legendary Coach Alton Murkison up on the stage.
Coach Merck.
Calling Coach Merck. Calling Coach Merck.
No, I'm going to stick around a little. No, I'm going to stick around a
You
few.
gonna stick around too? Okay.
Yeah, I told him he'll still be here for questions and everything else.
Are we gonna go 3 wide on these stools? You staying right there? We're gonna put Steve in the
You
middle?
want to be on the thing with Coach.
And I'll come back later.
Okay. All right. Coach, come snuggle. Hey guys, real quick, we're gonna give Jeff a break. Steve, you need a break? You
Yeah,
gonna go talk to your daughter? Is that your daughter?
Yeah.
Man, we've met before, but I need to have you up on stage later. Not right now, not right now. No, because the rest of the planet wants to meet you. All right? They do. You don't, I know you don't realize how awesome your father is, so I'm gonna remind you a little bit. All right. Hey, I had a question come in from the peanut gallery. One of the moderators sent it to me. And basically, it was Paul American was asking if I would jump his dad's ashes into Normandy. That sounds awesome, but you understand, I'm just visualizing the open door of the airplane, and I open that thing, and you understand, it's just blowing everywhere inside the airplane, right? Getting all in my eyes and my mouth, and so let's do it. Paul, you reach out to me, and you get me your dad's ashes. I will smuggle it across international borders on a commercial airliner. I'll mix it in with Coke or something so nobody can smell it.
Let me jump in here real quick. Hey, just to answer the question that I asked Kraken Tactical about the lever action from Fight Light coming to Australia, which calibers he believed might be wanted, his answer was
The
same lever gun.
as the
No,
Bond
not that one. Sorry about that. Kraken Tactical. He said, deer hunting calibers 308, 30-06, and 270. Kraken, as Jeff explained, the current lever action rifle is based on an AR-15 platform format, so there'll only be AR-15 5.56, 223 size calibers, like the 6.8 SPC, the 350 Legend, 375 SOCOM, SBR. We're going to follow up because I talked to Jeff about doing the 357 SOCOM from Southern Ballistic Research. And if you guys Google Southern Ballistic Research in Brunswick, Georgia, Carl and I visited those guys down there. You know, that's my stomping ground. And they make the 375 SOCOM ammo. That would get it done. Along with, I would say, if it's going to be something like what you're asking, Kraken, I would go with the 6.8 SPC, the 350 Legend, or the 375 SOCOM.
All right, Steve, we got it. All right. Order in the court.
I got to be the preacher with Coach.
All right, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Can you guys hear Coach okay? That means you've got to actually say something, Coach. No? Come on, talk.
Yes, how you doing,
Don't
Carl?
talk to me, talk to them.
Yeah, how you doing,
All right,
Carl?
see that Jerry J?
Yes,
Right?
sir.
And Jerry, move out of the way. Jerry. All right, behind him is Erica Hotstetler. That's a couple of our resident nutbags.
I got
All right, and you've got a few of them out there. You got Donut, you got JT. All right, a couple people watching at home
Yes,
in
sir.
our studio audience. All right, so I see you here with your blushing bride, right?
Yes, sir.
Waving at honey bunny over there.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you for coming on the show.
Appreciate you for
Guys, Steve, you guys remember last week, right? Steve put a bunch of pictures up. He had great pictures of, great pictures.
That was years ago.
Right? Those aren't good pictures? Were those embarrassing to see them up on the screen like that?
No, not embarrassing, but it was years ago.
Guys, I didn't know who Coach was. I just knew Coach was a great American. You guys know we shoot every Sunday, 2 p.m. after church. If I'm in town, and I've been gone a lot, but when we do it, I invite friends and family. Big Al, Wick, Randy Wurst, the local SWAT guys, everything, retired Green Berets. Well, up comes Steve's like, hey, can I invite Coach to come? I'm like, sure, everybody's welcome. Friend of Steve's, friends of mine. I had no idea who this fine American was. I just know he came up and had a big smile on his face that you can't get off. And Big Al's daughter just happened to be there, and this little girl, her brother loves to shoot, and the mom is okay with shooting, but the daughter did not really want to be there. She's like, I just want to sit down and be in my phone. And I wouldn't let her do that. And Coach shows up with, you brought a little 22 rifle.
22, model 60.
And Coach is the most patient coach you'll ever meet. He laid down on the ground with this girl and just talked her through the fundamentals of marksmanship. And by the end of the day, you had that girl shooting the hell out of pumpkins. You remember all those pumpkins we had set up?
Yes, sir. She was really afraid of the gun at first, but when she found out it didn't have any recoil, she really enjoyed it.
She did good. And anyways, it worked out great. And I said, okay, Coach is a great American. Coach is now a member of my family. Always welcome on the Hill. Always welcome on the Hill.
Pleasure being here, Carl.
But then I didn't realize, Steve starts pulling up all the pictures and everything. Okay, he's coaching the Olympic team, but guys, look at that beret right there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he was at Fort Campbell, right? We were talking about you jumping earlier, right?
Yeah, I just had returned from Vietnam. I went to Vietnam wearing 178.
Yeah.
I came back, I was wearing about 155, 160 on that picture.
Man. Good stuff indeed. And so first off, thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you for
me coming in the military, I learned in junior high school I want to be a Green Beret. I watched the movie with John Wayne. Came out in '69. I didn't see it till I was in junior high school. But once I'm in the military, my heroes were no longer the Hollywood movie stars like John Wayne. My heroes were now you Vietnam vets. So thank you for everything you did and for blazing the trail ahead for me and Steve and Randy Rawhide Worst and the rest of our TR family.
And I appreciate everything that you all have done. I was combat armed with the Vietnam as an infantry soldier, and my dream was to be what you all are. And unfortunately, I had a small incident over there that wouldn't allow me to do that, so I went to another job.
Yeah.
And didn't get to be a ranger, special forces, and all of those things. But it was on my list of things that I wanted to do, but unfortunately, I couldn't do it.
Well,
but I still stayed in.
You've lived a very fulfilled life, sir. Very fulfilled life. Yep. Great stuff indeed. So, anything you want to share with us? I tried to get his blushing bride to come up here. We'll put
Yes,
her on
I'd like to share something.
Okay.
Anybody that's been in combat, prison and combat will change your individual. You know, you come back and you have these different things that bother you. And it's good to have family that you can be around, that you feel comfortable around, because people that haven't been in combat, have been in the military, can't relate to you the way another soldier can, especially a combat soldier. So, in reference to meeting your group, Shakinab
I think it was a W4.
Yeah.
He was a W4. Him and I in the same fraternity together, and he asked me, "What are you doing this weekend? Or what are you doing during the week?" I said, "I'm going to my happy place." And he never knew what it was. And he asked me, "What is your happy place?" I said, "Shooting."
Yeah.
I shoot 3 or 4 times a week. I do some exceptional things. I challenge myself to do things. Long range, short range, pistols, rifle. And I've never been taught. I'm actually self-taught.
Self-taught.
But I shoot very well. I shoot mill dot. I enjoy shooting them because I know where my rounds are going.
Yep.
MOAs, I know about them, but mill dot is my thing.
Yep.
And when he introduced me to Steve, and Steve introduced me to you,
Yep.
and I came out to your place, I was hooked. I said,
awesome.
"This is where I want to be. This is
where
the
you
second
belong."
family for me."
Hey, we can. I'm gonna slide this way, and we're
No,
gonna.
I'm just here for a quick second. I
Yeah.
just wanted to know that
Here, you can hold this one.
I was just
All right, we're gonna give that one to Steve, and I'm gonna use this
I
one
was
right
just
here. Can you guys
texting
hear me? Okay.
Merck Jr. Make sure
Nick?
he's watching.
Nick, can
And
you
he's
hear me
like,
okay?
I told him, he kept sending me those pictures. I said, hey, I said, talk to Carl. I said, we're gonna get Coach on stage. He goes, Coach, that's an amazing background, and the fact that you never mentioned it to any of us.
Sometimes it's better to be humble.
Yeah, there's
Well,
nothing wrong with
that's
that.
being humble.
You can't demand respect. You have to earn it.
Earn it.
And
Amen.
it's just like in the boxing world. I talk about it a little bit. My main concern is my athlete.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about the promoter's job, the manager's job,
Yeah.
the TV network's job. My job is to train my fighters. But in the business, if you're not a team player, you kind of get pushed to the side.
Yeah.
But I let them all know. My concern is the boxer. Take care of him, and you won't have a problem out of it.
Yep.
So that's where I've been on. And I did my boxers like I did my troops.
Yep. My thing is, I give everybody respect till you give me a reason to take it away from you, and then it's very, very hard to get my respect back. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people in the world right now that are quickly losing my respect. But sir, you're awesome. I consider it an honor to have you on our team, and you're always welcome out at my place, always. You got to hang around more for the stakes. I know you said, what'd you say last time? Carl, I can't see in the dark. I got to get home.
And you know what is going to happen tonight?
You know what? You can, that's why you brought to Mama drive you home. You bring Mama next time, she can drive your ass home.
With age come other things, and my sight is...
Viagra take care of that stuff. Viagra take care of that. I'm joking. She's going to throw a drink at me, a beer bottle or something.
It won't work if you had the problems that I had. Yes.
That's that Vietnam injury. Shot the top 6 inches of it off. Bottom 12 inches are still good.
Besides Steve, we used to go to Southside shooting range.
Yeah.
Montgomery County shooting range.
Yeah.
And we talked about Steve earlier that used to manage the range, but Randy Work was
Randy
working
Worth.
there. So I'm on the 400-yard range, and he comes over. It was just him. He was working the pistol and the rifle. And he comes up to me and says, "How you doing, sir?" "I'm doing fine, sir. And you?"
Yeah.
He said, "I don't see a target up." I said, "I've got a target out there." He thought I was being belligerent or just being smart. He said, "Well, I don't see a target." I said, "It's a target out there. And it's on the burn behind the 400-yard range." He said, "What are you shooting?" I said, "A Model 60. So he said, "Well, you need to go to the 100-yard range." I said, "Why don't you call Steve? Call Steve, and he'll tell you that I shoot over there all the time. I use my pistol on the 100-yard range."
Yeah.
So he called Steve, and he said, "There's a guy down here with a Model 60, stating that he shoots on the foot." "Oh, that's Merck. Let him shoot."
Yep.
So Randy's curious. I had some glass on my bench, and he said, "Can I use your glass?" I said, "Sure." He looked. He said, "You talking about that little orange thing on the range, on the behind the 400-yard line?" I said, "Yeah, that's it." He said, okay. I said, can I go hot? He said, yeah, the range is hot. So I get down on my little Model 60, and I let one go. I didn't know he was glassing me. He glassed me. And you do it all the time. I'm going to use a bad word. Shit! You missed it. 2 inches, 9 o'clock. So we got a little crosswind. And,
a little crosswind gets you.
So I made my adjustment, pulled the trigger, and said, you broke it. You broke it.
You're shooting clay pigeons. You're shooting clay pigeons? Yeah.
And I also got down to the minis, the 3 and 2 inch target conversion.
At 400 with a 22 long rifle.
Yes, sir. And my goal is 600. I've got a CM2 Russian target rifle.
Yeah.
I've got I bought a Ruger Precision 22 with a 30 M.
Spit it out. Spit it out. 30 MOA.
MOA base.
Okay.
And I've got 10 mils out to the top, 16 at the bottom, so that's going to give me 26.
Yeah.
And I think I can get my elevation out for 600 yards. The record is 600 yards on an 18-inch plate. Don't try to do it on a 6-inch. Don't have it.
That, what do you guys think? That's a TR video, right? When you do it, when you get on that plate, when you got your setup, and you let me know what gun parts you need. If you need a 50 MOA base, you let me know. I'll find you one. All right? I'm not joking. We're gonna make this happen, won't we?
That's my goal, so I'm gonna try to.
Yeah. All right. But once you're like, hey, Carl, I'm getting close. I'll bring my son. We'll grab the film. We'll put a GoPro out there next to the target. Just don't shoot my GoPro.
No.
And
I think the only place I'm gonna be able to practice though is on Fort Campbell, rank 16, because they got 830 yards.
You need 600.
I'm sorry.
You need 600.
I need 600.
I'll get. We've got we call it the Hardy Farm, and depending on what crop is in the field, I can put you out targets out to from where my deer stand is to the back fence is 603 meters. So, and we can get 200 meters further back from that behind my tree. So I can get you 800.
The only problem I have is I don't shoot paper and I don't shoot steel.
You don't shoot clay pigeons.
Yeah, but
You're a finicky eater.
What I do to get my ballistics down perfect, I want to know exactly where my round's going. I need a brown background. I need dirt.
You need
no
dirt.
Grass and
Okay. No. Yeah.
I stay in my scope and I read my hip.
Okay.
To see.
Yep.
You know, from
Then I don't have a range for you, but you find the range, and I'll bring the film crew, and we'll record this. We sure will. Yeah, that makes a good video. Yeah, we will. I'm gonna get him. I know, guys. I owe him a couple TR shirts. I'll get him TR shirts. We'll get.
I see you getting ready for your Normandy jump.
Oh man,
You're
it's
the
gonna be
jump master.
awesome. I am the jump master.
Why don't you take Steve with you?
No, Steve ain't ready for that stuff because they won't let him jump the monkey. Guys,
I don't jump the monkey. The monkey jumps me.
Nick, is there sound on the TR, on the RCPT video? All right, guys, so real quick, if you don't know what we're talking about, I'm gonna main screen. Nope. Up one more. Right there. All right, we're back. Sorry, guys. I was going to play the video for you and narrate it for you, but I can't do it, so it's no big deal. What? The mouse? You need it? I was playing it, but there's no sound with it. I had it playing. Yeah, but I wanted to be able to narrate it. Okay, here. Guys, I gotta give my son the mouse back. Don't drop it. Hey, Nick, can you bump the TV up just a tad? The camera. Oh, that's beautiful right there. Look at that, guys. Look at that. That's back where we were before.
Yeah, baby! Open motherfucking shoot! Fucking beautiful. Damn it. Oh, that was a good one. Yep. Yeah, Nick. Oh, that's Carl. Hey, brother.
Good jump.
Fuck yeah.
Excellent jump. A very excellent jump. Excellent jump. Ain't that awesome, guys? Is that not awesome? So, anyways, I would not miss this for a second. When I retired, I told everybody I wasn't going to jump anymore. Like, you wouldn't jump anymore, would you? No. Why? Because that's dangerous.
Too much metal.
Yeah. Well, I don't have. I got metal now. Yeah. My thing is I never had to pull my reserve parachute, and I don't want to take a chance anymore. But I had an old Sergeant Major of mine, Rick Lamb. He showed me a picture from the 75th anniversary, and picture of the side of the airplane. He's like, man, that's me going out. I'm getting ready to say that's gay. But he's like, the guy in the door, that was my son. He's second jumper. And it was a great bonding experience for me and my son. And guys, I've done a lot of screwed up stuff in my life, but my only regret is when the towers fell. You talk about going to combat and everything, there's certain things that people don't understand. Part of that is being away from your family. I missed 10 years of my son growing up, right when my son needed a father at home. So any chance I have that I can make it up to my son, I jump at that. So I mentioned it to Nicholas, and Nick's eyes lit up. So I'm like, oh man, I got a parachute now. This is gonna suck. But I'll tell you what, Coach, I'd love to have you come down. You don't have to jump. I'm gonna bring you down to Florida, Palatka, Florida. You can just hang out on the drop zone. We'll drink at night, we'll party, we'll grill. I'll make you some seafood gumbo out there next to the campsite. And I'm not a bad cook. Their motto, guys, is it's more than just a jump. So if you know somebody that's in a bad way mentally, he's got a lot of problems weighing on his shoulders, stuff like that, you bring him out there to Palatka, Florida, Round Canopy Parachuting Team.USA. I guarantee you all their problems go away when you're in the door. Ain't nothing matters except for gravity. That's the only thing that matters. You remember going out the door.
Yes, sir. You stated something that touched me very close because you stated it's never too late.
It's never too late.
You was never around your kid.
Yeah.
You was out doing things that you really didn't want to do, but you had to do.
Had to do it.
And you're doing things with him now. I was in the same situation with boxing, with the military. My kids, one of my kids played pro ball for 6 years.
Yeah.
It's a shame to say, out of 3 of my kids that played sports, and they were actually highlighted in the schools that they went to, even in the pros. Out of the 3 kids, I saw a total of 8 games. That's through junior high, high school, college.
Ain't that sad? Yeah, that's sad.
So when I retired from the military in 1990, I still feel the same thing because I went into training professional when I was all over the world. So I thought I was doing the right thing because anything they need, I
Yeah.
give it to my wife.
Yeah.
What do you need? Here you go, here you go. But I didn't realize how much I was missing.
Yeah, you know, and this for all you young guys out there, you will never ever hear a guy on his deathbed saying, you know, I spent too much time with my family. I wish I'd spent less time with my kids. You'll never hear a single guy ever say that I wish I spent less time with my kids. They're never going to say it. So, yeah, it sucks, don't it? So,
But I mean, you have to.
I'm trying.
It was a
Yeah.
job, and if you could do something with them now, just like I spend a lot of time with my kids. We shoot a lot together.
Yeah.
My grandkids. We do a lot of
That's
things
your
together.
son that's always on live streams, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he reaches out to me, he's very proud of you. He is. He's very proud of you.
And you know, I'm pretty humble. I guess action speaks louder than words to me. It's not important
Yeah.
that people know what I've done, but my family, they kind of like, Dad, you need to tell them.
Well, that's my job here. I'm gonna tell him. Just how awesome this guy is here. You know, Coach. Anything else you want to share? Because I'm gonna bring up that young lady over there. Because I'm gonna tell her how.
You bring me in. It's just a pleasure being on your show. Thank you.
We're gonna tell her how awesome her dad is.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think she understands. She needs to. She needs to. Oh, dude, yeah, you remember my family, always welcome on the hill. Always welcome on the hill.
Thank
All right? Thank you, guys. Coach, yeah, truly a legend, guys. Truly a legend. All right, you're not getting out of it. Order in the court. Yellow Shabab. Come here. Come on. While your dad's not here, come on. Come on, we're going to talk bad about your dad for a few minutes. What's your good side? Do you have a good side? She's like, both sides are awesome, Carl. Ma'am, you want this chair or you want on this side? You going to come sit? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't remember your first name. Candace. This is Steve Holland's daughter. All right. Can you guys hear her okay? I got a mic for you. I do. All right. Are you going to hold this one? You want to hold this one?
I can.
You
I am
can?
actually loud though.
All right. So she's going to sing a tune for us. This is a song that she has written special for her father. I'm joking. No, she didn't. I told her I was going to bring her up here. Where is your dad hiding at?
I don't know. I've been looking for him.
All right. I don't know if you remember the first live stream you came to at the Leatherwood Distillery. Mm-hmm. She actually asked me, "Why are you doing this?" I don't know if you remember that. I told her because I don't think she realizes how awesome her father is, because her dad didn't share a lot, but he also didn't get a lot of credit for the great stuff that your dad did. But more importantly, your kids and your grandkids, and don't be in a hurry now. Don't be in a hurry. But I want you to have digital proof where you can show them, hey, Grandpa actually did this. And so, anyways, I'm a great fan of your dad. I never knew your dad back when he was on a green light team. You know what a green light team is? She's got no idea what a green light team is. Wow. Cold War, end of World War II, we enter the Cold War with Russia. Nuclear bombs. Now, you know how we have Tomahawk cruise missiles now?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Before we had Tomahawk cruise missiles, in order to get that B-52 bomber into Russia, right, because to stop it, they would send MiG fighters. Well, you got to get rid of the MiGs. How do you get rid of the MiGs? How about if we were to detonate a nuclear bomb at the base? Now, they got a minefield around it, so how are you going to do this? So they came up with this grand plan. They would have Halo teams, oxygen masks, jump out of an airplane, open their parachutes 25,000 feet, sail across international borders with basically a suitcase nuke, walk to right next to the fence, dig a hole, bury it, get up with a sniper rifle, watch it for 2 days to make sure nobody went and dug it up, and then run as fast as you can for a couple of days till you reach minimum safe distance. It's a nuke. Minimum safe distance is literally miles and miles and miles. So that team was called a green light team, very, very classified. You'll never hear your dad talk about it because it's still classified. I am allowed to talk. It's been declassified. It's in all the museums. You can Google it online, guys. You go to Wikipedia. But your father, Steve, had to sign a non-disclosure agreement for like 50 years. So though your dad can't talk about it, your dad was one of those unsung heroes of the Cold War. He's actually told us the story of him jumping the monkey. That's what it's called, an 80-pound nuclear device the size of that stool. Fast forward, I met your dad about the time your dad was getting ready to retire. The towers fell, and the colonel, the commander of 5th Special Forces Group said, "Steve, I'm tearing up your retirement paperwork." And Steve's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I need you to be, right now we're a desert group. We're ready for Iraq. We're not ready for Afghanistan. I need all this new equipment, and you're the guy for the job." Your dad didn't just step up to the plate. Every unit has got a force modernization guys. They come and go, they stay a year. That was not your dad. Your dad stayed in that job. And what I loved about your dad was he didn't just say, "Well, I used to do this. I started the sniper locker. I know all this." Instead, he said, "I want to know what the guys on the ground actually need." And he actually came and sought me out, my peers, because at the time I'm on an A-team actually getting on the helicopter to go do everything. Your dad got me everything I need. Your dad got me things I didn't even know I needed, and never asked for a pat on the back, never asked for nothing. And the sad part was your dad was very visionary, and if it wasn't out there, he would get with a lot of the civilian companies, "Hey, the war fighters need this." And he helped them develop it, and then he never got any credit for it. Never got any credit for it. So I'm bad-mouthing you, Steve.
My mom said the same thing. My mom's tried to explain some stuff to me about what my dad
You were
did.
young back then,
Yeah.
right? How old were you when the towers fell? Wow, right?
11?
11. So you were at an age where you needed to have a dad around. I got that. Yeah, Nicholas, how old were you when the towers fell? 4? 5. My daughter wasn't even 1 yet. She had just turned 1. It's hard. It was hard. Was it hard having dad gone all the time?
Honestly, I can't remember. It was so long ago.
I was kind of glad that dad would go to work. I kept him away from me. I got to do whatever I wanted to. No, anyways, I'm not meaning to put you on your spot. You got any good, before you sing, me and her, we're gonna do a duet together, all right? Before we sing, are there any good dad stories you wanna share with us? Something that would embarrass the shit out of your dad. Remember, by the way, YouTube is forever, all right?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays on Facebook, all right? It's forever.
I really don't think I can think of any off the top of my
No?
head. If anything comes up,
I should have warned you ahead of time. Give me a good dad story. You don't have any good dad stories at all?
Not
How about a
anything that would
bad
be like
dad story?
No, not anything like super embarrassing. My dad's really patient.
Look at, you see, he's got that ear. He's got that ear perked up hard.
My dad's really patient, so if anything, I learned to get my patience from him. And so
He's a very patient person.
yeah, when it comes to work ethics and stuff, because he's. Dad, are you listening?
Oh yeah, he's listening. He's listening. He's listening hard. Look at him pointing that ear right at us.
He set a really good example to show how work should be done, and just to like make sure you're detailed in everything. But I think I've learned mostly patience because people can be kind of hard, especially because I work in retail. And so a lot of people can feel entitled or just be really snippy. So I try my hardest just try to keep cool.
Well, I've met your mom. Your mom's an awesome individual also. I haven't finished her book. She gave it to my wife. She didn't give it to me. But yeah, you've been blessed with two great parents.
I love you very much.
Anyways, thank you for coming on the live stream. I'm not going to make her sing, guys. Next live stream. She can sing next live stream. You good with that? I get a hug from you?
Yeah.
All right, guys, Steve Holland's daughter, great American. All right, you two coming back up? You bring a coach back up in the middle here.
Yeah, we're going to bring Coach back up here. Coach's son, Bert Jr., wanted me to ask you about your drone flight.
Carl, my son bought me a drone.
You draw you a drone,
I've
okay?
got 3 drones, and he bought me some cheap ones. He said because you're probably gonna crash them.
Probably gonna crash them,
I
yeah.
want you to use the good one, the expensive one. You just practice on these. Man, I read the instructions and I synchronized everything and all this. First of all, to try it, I tried it in the kitchen. And I put
What part of flying aircraft didn't you grasp? You don't do it in the kitchen.
But I read everything, and it's supposed to just hover 1.5 meters above the floor, right?
Yeah.
So it did that. So, and I'm trying to follow this thing. I'm moving around. The drone attacked me, man. It did attack me and almost cut my retina, man. I'm serious. And it crashed. It crashed into every cabinet in the doggone thing and turned upside down.
And then lost its mind.
The blades were still going, so I'm pushing the buttons trying to cut it off. I finally picked it up, and the blades were still going, hitting my fingers and stuff. So I called him up. I said, man, this drone attacked me. He said, Dad, don't do it in the house. Go outside and make sure you're on a flat surface and try it. So every day for about a week, and it was wind sensitive.
Yeah.
It was the cheap one.
Oh, yeah.
If you had a little way of this thing, like you push it, it come up, and I'm trying to guide it, it attacked me again. So you had to bring me up to tell me.
Yeah, he said, ask my dad about the drone flight. He never said anything about drone attack.
And evidently the cheap ones don't have a range as the better ones.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I got it now. So I move it out probably about 45 yards.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get it to go left or right, and it wouldn't do nothing. So it was cheap, and it didn't. I guess it wouldn't. Next thing you know, it takes off and goes over 2 neighbors' yards, and I pushed the button, it went crash. That's enough of that.
That's awesome.
Real quick, tell us about your airborne wings, air assault wings.
Oh, I got a lot of little things I can talk about. When they kicked me out of infantry under General Emerson, when he came in with that 25-mile road march, when he took over the 18th Airborne Corps, I went on the march, came back. I was scheduled to go to air assault school, so they kicked me out. So I had some art background. I had to put in a 4187 reclassification.
Yeah.
I put in for 81 Echo, which was illustrated.
81 Echo is an illustrator.
It's an illustrator. So, and I OJT'd in it because I had some art background. So I get there at that time. The first air assault school was a 2-hour platform demonstration.
That's it.
That
2 hours.
It.
Oh,
then
shit.
you had to go to a retraining for a week, and then to get your wings, you had to go to the ones that they have now.
Okay.
And when I went through, we actually set the standard for the air assault. We had to climb a troop ladder on the Chinook. We did a lot of crazy treetop landings and all that stuff. But anyway, to make a long story short, it's NCIC as a training aid service office under Joe Downey. You know the white building, the general used to stay in?
Yeah.
That was his family house. The director of training aid service office. So I worked for him and I was NCIC. So myself and Bob Goodwin was the 2 illustrators that designed the air assault.
Really? The air assault badge, the coveted
took us
air
a
assault
year.
badge.
Took us a year. They kicked it back about 8 times before they approved it.
And now it's, that alone is a legacy to have right there.
General
Right?
Barry was there. General Berry, and after he left, General Wickham came. Those are the two generals I worked under when I was there.
Coach is a legend.
Legend.
Coach is a legend.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up tonight.
Okay,
we've had us a great show.
Thank you.
No, dude, thanks for
And I'm
coming
going to get
on.
out, and I'll let you close down.
Oh, dude, you could have stayed for it. Easy stuff. Steve, thanks for a good live stream. I want to thank Jeff for coming on tonight. Jeff, you want to come back up for 3 seconds? I'm going to put you in the middle again. I don't know if you guys noticed, but hanging behind Jeff and Steve is actually Steve's lever gun, lever AR. And this one right here, guys, and notice I'm not touching it. That sexy monster right there. Jeff has already said. You good, man? You good? Right? Ain't that awesome, guys? Look at that sexy gun. But Steve is going to do a video on that one. Feature YouTube video. I'm going to do one on the belt-fed AR upper. I don't think it got the credit that it deserved back when he first came out with it, but it is a tool whose mission has never gone away, and it's going to keep popping back up. The more tactics change, the more you're going to see that certain things repeat themselves. Medical gear. Certain types of weapon systems, certain types of tactics, and it fills a requirement, especially in an unconventional warfare scenario. And there are dark clouds on the horizon, and all of us need to take a look at things like this. So, anyways, I'm going to do a video on it, Jeff. I'm going to take you up on that if you don't mind helping me do it.
I'd be glad to send one out your way. You let me know what you want, and we'll send it out.
Man, I now just need an ammo sponsor.
Well, we've got some ammo too.
I'm not going to burn up your ammo. I'll find somebody.
Hey,
No, we'll reach out to Jeff Hoffman at Black Hills Ammo.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff, Black Hills Ammo, always support a tactical rifleman.
Yeah.
And I know if we reach out to him and say, hey, we're going to do some video on the MCR from
You said it like
Fight
62
Light.
grain?
Yep.
62
I'm
grain
pretty sure
ammo.
Jeff will take care of us.
Yeah, it's actually optimized for M855 or M855A1 and their tracer
We're
counterparts.
not wasting M855A1. But if any of you guys out there have a couple 12 cases of M855A1, I need it for my truck. Because, no, it's good ammo. That's my truck gun ammo. I try to keep a bandolier in each vehicle. Anyways, I digress. All right, so we're going to wrap it up for tonight, guys. So, again, what's up? What? We have a super chat? I don't have my phone on me, so why don't you just tell me what it is? Here comes my son is bringing me a super chat real quick. All right, guys, I got a super chat. All right, the Donut Eater. Y'all have us use AR-15s and striker-fired pistols. Carl recommends semi-automatic sniper rifles. What is the operational reasons for a lever action? A legitimate question. Here's the deal, guys. A lot of places you can't have an AR. You can't have a semi-auto, number one. Number two, lever actions are just plumb sexy. They are. They are. And the fact that you can use a lot of your AR parts, and there's been a lot of work that's gone into ARs. And I'm not bashing Henry and our other big lever action companies out there, but there's so much great stuff. You start looking at ballistic advantage and proof barrels and all this other stuff. You understand a lever gun, you don't have to worry about gas systems cutting into your accuracy. There's just a lot that a lever gun brings to the table. There really is. So
yeah, I would actually add something to that, Carl, and
Go
that
ahead.
is if you want to run a suppressor or a silencer, if you want to run as quiet as you can get and still be able to do a really rapid reload, a lever gun's something you really should consider. The other thing is that lever guns, he asked, I guess, about a tactical perspective, right? You won't find a faster, more reliable system out there, I don't believe, than a bolt action. But I will say this, in this particular case with a Herring Model 2024 lever action, If you think about autoloaders, I think arguably, and Steve, you could correct me on this coming from the AMU side of it, I think AR-15 type of systems with a centerline thrust direct gas system are probably the most accurate. Would you agree? For an autoloader.
Yeah,
For an autoloader.
Nothing out there can touch it.
Yeah, and then, and those are, you go ahead and free float that barrel, you got a little bit more going on.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, you have absolutely no disruption of that barrel from the gas system or the bolt group.
Harmonics just run straight through it.
Absolutely dead nuts accurate. And
Like I said,
there's something to be said for that.
it didn't dawn on me until, I got ready to shoot, and then we were doing the show at Carl's last week. This doesn't have a gas block. It doesn't have a gas tube. It doesn't have a gas port drilled into the barrel. There's nothing to cause any of those little vibration things that you find in systems like that. It kept hitting me. This is shooting straight, barrel straight, almost like a bolt gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, and it also doesn't throw the brass out.
Yeah.
Yes, isn't that the truth? No, the reality is, constitutional right or not, their states reserve the right to make their own decisions, and politicians reserve the right to do whatever's going to put more money in their pockets, and get they'll bend the knee to whatever they got to do to get reelected. As sad as that is, so. There's a lot of places, we have a lot of fans that live deep behind enemy lines in California, Connecticut, places
Australia.
like that. Australia.
New Zealand.
So anyways, it's all good. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up for tonight. Again, thanks, Jeff. Thank you so much
thank you
for
very
coming
much.
on.
You and
Steve, thanks for putting this together.
Thank
I want to
you.
thank
It's been a
John
pleasure,
Rich.
brother.
Awesome,
He
man.
wasn't able to come in tonight.
Appreciate you coming.
Busy man. I want to thank him for letting us use his bar. I want to thank Venture Surplus again. It's actually down here, guys. Venture Surplus for sponsoring us. You guys know the deal. Venture Surplus brings the surplus store to your door. All you got to do is go online. Free shipping, free returns. Right? That's kind of like an automated way of me doing it, checking that block. But no, seriously, guys. You want Army surplus stuff, you don't got to go outside Fort Bragg to get it. You can go to venturesurplus.com. Want to thank everybody that stuck with us tonight. Want to thank Emery and the rest of the guys. I've got Mike Quigley, a bunch of other patrons here, and even Jamie Gap came down. But,
You want to thank Nicholas?
guys, we got one more live stream next week before I go over to Normandy, France. I'm gonna have another old SF buddy of mine. He's coming on. I've had him on. He's has the beginning of Parkinson's disease. We had him on a couple months ago, and I'm gonna have him back on again. And then the big send-off before we go to Normandy. So I'll see you guys next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. And that's about it. Parting words, Steve. This is where he does his prayer.
Part of his word is thank you to Jeff.
You gonna make it?
Thank you to Nick. Everything happens because of Nick. Carl's just a mouthpiece. I'm just a mouthpiece. But you guys out there watching us, we greatly appreciate you. We greatly appreciate Americans. Always do the right thing. Be straight, be loyal, and be good.
All right, guys, y'all take care and shoot straight.